I am Aman Raj from Chennai Mathematical Institute, and today I will present my shiny dashboard titled 2015 Police Killings Analysis. Now, this dashboard provides an in-depth exploration of police killings in the United States in 2015, focusing on racial disparities, causes of death, armed status, and population demographics. As you can already see in the overview section, introduction section of this dashboard, and this data for this project was obtained from Kaggle. So here is a quick hyperlink to this Kaggle platform where you can see about the data set, its description and everything. And this is a very diverse data set, I must say. It contains 467 records and 34 columns as of now, and you can explore this more on Kaggle. Let me get back to my dashboard. So this is the introduction tab. Next is the data description, and this is where you have a few things. First is this data preview section, then is a key statistics section, and I've also mentioned some variable descriptions at the end, which you would find interesting to note, which were the key variables which was used in this analysis. Also, you can see 461 entries, 1 out of 10. Use these columns to skim through the data set. And so look at this data exploration filters, and these filters are according to those particular columns like race, ethnicity. You can select among them. For instance, I select white here. You can select your favorite state, and then gender and age. For age we have this slider, and you can apply these filters and the key statistics come out almost naturally. And these are those 5 entries corresponding to your selection. Okay, so now let's look at the results section. So this is the results section where we first have race or ethnicity distribution. So I've made this bar plot. This shows the count of police killings victims by race or ethnicity, and you can see that here. Now you may choose to believe by seeing this bar chart that white people were killed the most, as the number of victims are more. But remember that according to the demography, the people living in America, they were the most to begin with. So these were the key insights, and these are the different kinds of plots which provide the same insight. So one density plot and a proportion plot, and then there's one time series plot as well, which I chose to just throw in, which looks at the date at which these victims were killed with respect to the number of victims. So for instance, you can look at March 17, 2015, where 8 people were killed, but on some days like April 7, a few people were killed. You can also fiddle around with this graph. Okay, next we go to cause of death, and this cause of death we have made a bar plot, and this bar plot suggests that the maximum people were killed due to gunshot, but that's okay. Now there's a heat map, which is in some sense a correlation matrix which will tell you the cause of death versus the race ethnicity. And again, people who are white have been killed the most, is what you can see by the gunshot, but again remember that they were most to begin with. And you can see this green part where this black people come in, and which were also a huge people who were black and were killed by gunshot. and then this is a cause over time. So this is again those time series analysis, and you can see that who, on which date, the number of victims who were killed and by what means were they killed. And then this is their armed status, that the people who were killed, were they possessing any arms, if any? If they were, then what are the arms they had? And we made a bar plot out of it, and you can see that most people who were killed were using firearms, but that's not the most important part which I want to highlight. And as you can see in the key insights, approximately 21.9% of victims were unarmed, and which is important in the sense that it raises a concern because a significant proportion of victims were unarmed, so it raises questions about the use of force by the police. Next we have this pie chart, which also gives you the same information. Next, there is this population analysis, which again tells you that among the people who were black in a particular demography, the most people who were killed were black and not the white people, right? So this is, and the noticeable disparities between racial groups, and the first part will come later in the next part, where I've done a scatter plot between poverty and income, which is a famous concept in economics. It says the communities with higher poverty rates tend to show lower average household incomes. So clearly here you can see that as the household income increases, the poverty is low, and as you can see the income decreases over here, the poverty level is quite high. This is the conclusion section. So racial disparities among people who were killed, so mostly black people and the Latino Hispanic populations. The primary cause was gunshot, and the victims were unarmed. The most of the many victims were unarmed, which raises an important question of use of force. And the demographic analysis which we did. And here is a little reference for the sources that I have used. This is R for Data Science by Hadley Wickham, and this is Police Killings Dataset from Kaggle. And I would like to thank my guide, Professor Sourish, under whom this project has been totally conquered. Thank you very much.